I have 16 active credit cards and access to over $100,000 in credit across those cards. And when most people hear that, they sort of assume I have a spending problem or something like that. So for example, I know my parents and my fiance always give me a questionable look anytime I tell them I got approved for another new card that arrives in the mail. But as many of you know, if you watch my channel, I'm really just into managing my money as efficiently as possible. And I love how credit cards work as a tool for not only keeping me organized, but more importantly, also helping me to build my credit and literally save tens of thousands of dollars in travel from all the points and miles that I've earned over the past 5 years or so. Now, the other week, I decided to make this video to track my spending down to every last dollar from both fixed and variable expenses. That way I could basically document my spending habits and all the credit card points I'm earning, because honestly, I'm really curious about whether I am being a smart shopper who's using credit cards wisely, or if I really do have a hidden credit card problem like my family thinks I do. And honestly, after sitting down and going over the final numbers, I was pretty surprised by these results, so make sure you stick around to see what I spend in a week, what credit cards I'm using the most in my day-to-day life, and what those points I'm earning across all 16 cards are really worth. So let's get right into it here, starting with Sunday the other week, where I was down in Austin, Texas, doing a few things and meeting up with some people. So I got in late Saturday night and I was staying at the Hyatt Regency that sits right on the river in downtown Austin. Now this hotel was pretty cool for two reasons. So first, I got upgraded from a standard room to one of their top Riverview suites thanks to my Explorer status from Hyatt. And thanks to this upgrade, I had plenty of space to sit down for an hour-plus interview with Spencer Johnson, who's another awesome YouTuber in the whole credit card personal finance space. Now, these Riverview suites at the Hyatt Regency in Austin typically go for around $1,000 for a 3-night stay, even though the cash price I think was a little bit higher for that during the specific days that I was there. But luckily, I was able to book this entire stay with credit card points, so there was no out-of-pocket hotel expense for me this week. Now, what I actually did here was I used a free night certificate to book one of the nights, and then I transferred 24,000 Chase points over to 24,000 Hyatt points using my Chase Sapphire Preferred, since Hyatt is one of the top Chase transfer partners that credit card gives me access to. So redeeming just 24,000 points for a $1,000 hotel stay, including that free night, values those points at around 4.2 cents per point, and that's over 4 times more than the cash value of those points. So in other words, I could have redeemed 24,000 Chase points at 1 cent per point for $240 of cash back, but instead I got a $1,000 3-night hotel stay, which is a pretty good deal. Now, like I said, I currently have Explorer status, and I'm working up towards the top Hyatt Globalist status, which I'm gonna have in another couple of months. And once I have that Globalist status, I'm gonna be able to get an awesome free breakfast benefit. But during this stay, I did have to pay for breakfast that I just went ahead and ate downstairs at this Hyatt. So the total for breakfast on Sunday was $23 exactly. And normally I'd use my Amex Gold card to get 4x points at restaurants. But since I'm at a Hyatt and I have the World of Hyatt card from Chase, I get up to 9x back on Hyatt purchases with that card. And only some of this bill qualifies for this, so I think alcohol and taxes don't earn 9x. But after looking at my account, I earned 230 Hyatt points from this Sunday breakfast, thanks to some additional promotions that Hyatt is running at the moment. After that, I also met up with someone for some coffee at a place called Joe's and paid for 2 drinks, which came out to be $7.85. And for this, I used my Amex Gold card, which again gets 4x at restaurants like this, so that was 31 Amex points. Now, after breakfast and coffee, I just went ahead and did some work from my hotel room, which was really cool with the whole view I had with this river suite. And then I went ahead and grabbed lunch downstairs in the hotel restaurant and paid $34.63, and again, used my World of Hyatt card when paying for dining at a Hyatt property. So that was 247 Hyatt points, because I guess some stuff was excluded from the point multipliers. And then I sat down with Spencer for our interview, which was awesome to chat with him about YouTube, credit cards, and some other personal finance stuff. And I grabbed some tacos for dinner with him after that as well, which only cost $17.80 and went on my Amex Gold card as well to earn 71 Amex points. Then on Monday, I decided just to repeat my eating habits again by grabbing breakfast with coffee downstairs for $26.69, earning 212 Hyatt points on my Hyatt card. And then I went for a walk along the river trail in front of the hotel to get some fresh air and some more views of downtown Austin. And then I stopped back for pretty much the exact same lunch again in the hotel restaurant for $22.49, earning 198 points on my Hyatt card. Now I know that sounds kind of boring and maybe even a little bit pricey, just eating the same breakfast and lunch at the Hyatt restaurant for both days, but I was trying to keep things simple and convenient to save some time by just eating at the hotel. Plus, I don't think I've ever said this before here on the channel, but I have a really bad peanut and tree nut allergy, so whenever I find a spot to eat that I know has a normal menu for me that's good with my allergies, then usually I just stick with that kind of food and eat the same stuff over and over again. So pretty much burgers are my go-to restaurant food whenever I go out. Then later on Monday, Spencer and I got some work done at a co-working space in downtown Austin that I thought was pretty nice. And I had a free trial offer through my Amex Platinum card, so that was a cool place to work for the day with no out-of-pocket cost to me. And then to finish off my quick trip down to Austin, on Monday night, Spencer and I went ahead and grabbed barbecue at the famous Terry Black's. So I got some brisket and mac and cheese, which was amazing and definitely worth the trip if you're ever in the area. And the cost for that was $36.37 for food plus a drink, which was a little bit expensive, but I'm cool with paying that for some good Texas barbecue. So that went on my Amex Gold card for 4x on dining for 145 Amex points. Now, the next day on Tuesday, it was already time to fly back home to Philly. So in the morning, I grabbed an Uber to get over to the airport, which was $24.86, and I put that on my Amex Blue Business Plus as a travel expense for my business because there was a lot of work done on this trip. So that card earns 2x points per dollar on everything, and that added up to be about 50 Amex points for this ride. Then for the flight back home to Philly, I was able to find a nice points and miles deal to fly first class on American Airlines for only $5.60, which was only the cost to cover taxes and fees. So that went on my Amex Platinum card to earn 28 points at 5x points per dollar. And even though this was an American Airlines first class flight, I was able to find award availability by searching through British Airways because they're both a part of One World Alliance. So that's always what I recommend people do if they're looking to book an American Airlines flight by transferring Amex points, because you can't transfer directly to American with Amex, but you can transfer to British Airways to book One World Alliance partners. So sometimes there's availability like there was for this flight. So along with the $5.60 in taxes and fees, I'd transfer 22,000 Amex points over to 22,000 British Airways Avios to book this. And to get an idea of why this was a good deal for me, the cash price for this kind of flight is typically $890. So booking that with 22,000 points values this at around 4 cents per point, which again is a great deal compared to a base value of 1 cent per point for some other options to redeem Amex points. And I actually have a ton of points saved up with American Express, so I was fine spending 22,000 of them here for this 3.5-hour first class domestic flight. I also grabbed a sugar-free Red Bull for some caffeine and a bottle of water from a store inside the airport before my early Tuesday morning flight, which was $10.07 in total. And normally I try to stop in at an airport lounge for free stuff like this using my Amex Platinum card for lounge access, but there wasn't really any options inside of Austin's airport, so I just paid for this instead. And I put it on my Bilt card thinking this was going to be 3x for dining, but it was early in the morning and I wasn't really thinking straight, so it didn't code like I thought it would, so I only got 1x for 10 Bilt points from this purchase. Now on my flight, I did pay $19 for Wi-Fi, so I put that on my Chase Inc. Unlimited business credit card because that was again another business expense. So that card just earns a flat 1.5x points per dollar on everything and earned me around 29 Chase points here. And then for the rest of that Tuesday, there was really nothing else I spent money on because I just got back to my apartment from the airport and got some more work done. Now for Wednesday, I started off the day by getting over to the gym like I normally do, and I'm gonna break down my gym expense in a minute here because that's more of a fixed monthly membership that I pay for, so I'm gonna go over those fixed expenses next. But then after going to the gym, I decided to go over to a coffee shop to sit down and get some work done there for the day. So I bought a plain black coffee for $3.91 and put that on my Bilt MasterCard to earn 3x points per dollar for around 12 points here. And the coffee itself was actually less than that, but I always tip $1 or so just because I'm sitting and then using the coffee shop basically as my office for the next few hours, so I kind of view it like a cheap office rent expense. Then I spent nothing else for the rest of the day on Wednesday, and surprisingly nothing at all for the day on Thursday too. So on Thursday, I pretty much just went to the gym like usual and then worked from home for the day because I did have to film a new YouTube video, so here's a little behind the scenes look of that with my studio. On Friday, my fiance Jackie and I did some grocery shopping where we spent $125.56, where I was responsible for $85.56 of that, and most of the grocery bill was for food, but also a few other household supply items were mixed in there as well. And for this, Jackie paid using her Chase Freedom Flex card, where we get 5x points per dollar on groceries for her first year of having that card. That's because of a special sign-up bonus she got back in October. So based on my split of that grocery bill, that 5x points per dollar ends up being 428 Chase points. That's gonna go towards our 2-player setup where we combine all our credit card points to do a lot of travel together as a couple. And I made a previous video about that of course I'm gonna link to down below as well. Now for groceries, we usually split that cost to be around 65 to 70% on average for me, and then the rest for her because I just eat a lot more than Jackie does. And also for tracking spending that we do as a couple, we use a free app called Splitwise. And then we also both use a custom budgeting template to track our spending that I created and made some other previous videos talking about. So again, that's gonna be linked down below. Then for the last day of variable expenses on Saturday, before we get into my fixed expenses next here, all we really did was drive up to Connecticut where Jackie is from. So I paid to fill up our car with gas on the way there, and then Jackie paid for gas on the way back. So my portion of that on Saturday ended up being $29.66 because the car was already about half full. And for this, I used my Citi Custom Cash, which gets 5x points per dollar on your highest spend category every billing cycle. And since my custom cash card is only used as a gas card, that locks me into always getting 5% back on gas, which is a good deal and got me 148 Citi points here. On Saturday, I I also bought some Chipotle for lunch, which I had a gift card for, so that was free to me. Now, I'm not gonna go over Jackie's expenses because this video is mostly just about me and tracking my spending habits in a typical week. But next, let's go over some fixed expenses, starting with rent, which is the big one. So luckily, Jackie and I were able to find a great deal on a 2-bedroom place that we've been renting for a little bit over 1 year now that's still well below what similar apartments go for here in the Philadelphia area. So our total rent plus utilities for the month was $2,274.99. And currently we split this 50-50, but going forward, I am gonna pay a little bit more on my side because I have this whole YouTube studio set up here and the home office that I use one of our rooms for. But dividing that monthly cost by 4 weeks per month is equal to $568.75, and then splitting that in half for my share is equal to $284.38, which we're gonna use as my weekly rent here. And I paid for that entire thing on my Bilt MasterCard to earn 1 point per dollar on rent with no transaction fees. So just for my rent share, that's 284 Bilt points earned on that every week. Next, I've got my monthly car payment for my used 2018 Hyundai Sonata, which is $379.79. So divided by 4 weeks per month, that comes out to be around $94.95 per week. And for this, I just have an automatic bank transfer set up to make this payment every single month because I'm not able to actually use a credit card for points. For car insurance, I paid a 6-month premium a few months ago for $858 in total, which is a weekly cost of $33. And normally I try to get a new credit card welcome bonus whenever a larger payment like this comes up, because that's really gonna help with those big payments to hit any minimum spend requirements for a new sign-up bonus. But for this car insurance payment, I did not have any new cards, so I just put it on my Chase Freedom Unlimited to get 1.5x points per dollar. So for $33 per week, that earns about 50 points. Health insurance is the next big fixed monthly cost for me because I am self-employed with this YouTube channel and with some other stuff that I'm working on. And being self-employed is great, so it's been incredibly rewarding to take a risk and bet on myself to grow a business. But the one downside is that I don't have access to the much more affordable health insurance that my previous employer used to help provide for me. So my health insurance premium is $311.12 per month, which is about $77.78 per week. And this is also something that's just an automatic bank transfer with no option for me to use any credit card, so no points earned here on this expense either. Also, next year, once Jackie and I finally get married, I'm gonna be able to go ahead and get on her health insurance, which will be nice. But even though my health insurance is a lot of money right now, being self-employed basically allowed me to increase my income to another level that easily offsets the higher cost here. And I'm also able to contribute to an HSA with this high deductible plan that I have. So there's at least some nice tax savings here and investment growth as well that I'm able to get with HSA contributions up to a certain amount per year. Then I have a few other smaller fixed monthly expenses that I'm gonna split up into weekly costs here just so that I'm covering as much as I can. So I get a haircut about once per month for $55 total, including tips. That's $13.75 per week. And that goes on my Freedom Unlimited to earn 1.5 points per dollar for 21 Chase points. I have a monthly cell phone bill of $45.22 for my iPhone that I still just Venmo my parents for to stay on the cheaper family plan and save some money. So no credit cards used there, but that comes out to $11.31 per week. Then I have my gym membership, which is only $39.99 per month, or about $10 per week, that goes on my World of Hyatt credit card to get 2x points per dollar on fitness club and gym memberships. So that's 20 Hyatt points per week. And then Jackie and I split a Hulu membership for live TV instead of paying for cable, which is $74.20 per month, or about $37.10 for each of us, which is $9.28 a week for me. And that goes on a Sapphire Preferred card, getting 3x per dollar on streaming. So that's 28 Chase points per week for me. Then my share of internet per week is $7, and we also can't pay for that with a credit card because of some extra fees. Then my weekly dental insurance premium is $3.78 and goes on my Freedom Unlimited for around 6 Chase points per week. And then the other combined subscriptions that I pay for includes YouTube Premium, Spotify, Apple TV, and extra iCloud storage, and all those count as streaming subscriptions. That gives me 3x points per dollar on my Sapphire Preferred. So the weekly cost of those adds up to around $10.97 per week, so that's around 33 Chase points per week for those things as well. Now, in total, my weekly spending for fixed costs during this week for this video added up to $556.20, and then my variable costs for this week added up to $347.49 for a combined weekly spending of $903.69. For my credit card points that I earned from all of that, since I'm earning points across a few different points currencies like Hyatt, Chase, Bilt, American Express, and Citi, what I did was I just added up the total number of all the points earned from this week for all those things together, and that ended up being 2,280 credit card points. And then to decide what those points are worth, what I like to do to keep things simple is I value those points at just 1 cent per point each. So at 1 cent per point, that becomes $22.80 that I earned back from my credit cards during just this week alone. Now, that 1 cent per point value is only on the earning side of things, so then when it comes to the redemption side of things, eventually when I try to redeem all the points I've been saving up for travel travel, that's when I try to find good ways to use those points for things like flights and hotel stays at around 2 to 3 cents per point at a minimum. But sometimes I've been able to get as high as 7 to 10 cents per point on some really pricey business class flights as well. But that value is very subjective and is based on the cash price of those tickets, which can vary over time. So to do a quick estimate, if I take the 2,280 points I earned from this week and multiply by 52 weeks per year, that becomes roughly 118,560 points that I could estimate earning in 1 year. Now, my spending varies week to week, and obviously we have my fiance Jackie's spending to consider as well, but 118,560 points at a value of 1 cent per point is equal to around $1,185 per year. Or if I'm able to redeem those points the right way at higher values of 2 to 3 cents per point, then that becomes worth between $2,371 and $3,556 in value for travel. So you can see the better I get at redeeming my points, the more they become worth. Also, those numbers are not even including any credit card sign-up bonuses that I'm usually getting at least a few of per year, which really adds a lot to this number. But it's also not factoring in any annual fees of my credit cards or the credits on certain cards that help to offset those annual fees, because that's a whole nother thing to consider. So the main takeaway from tracking all this stuff that I got from this is I 100% believe that my spending habits are very much under control, and I'm using my credit cards very responsibly as a tool to manage my spending and at least to get something valuable back in return from it in the form of hotel stays and flights like the ones that I booked with points earlier this week. I'm not overspending on my credit cards, and I've definitely never paid even a single cent of interest because I pay off all my cards on time and in full every month. So basically, I just treat my credit cards like a debit card by only spending money I have. And I also stay organized by budgeting every month so that I can understand my spending habits better. So like I said before, I've got a full guide on how I budget that you should definitely go ahead and check out over here next in this video, because I've got a budgeting template over there in that video that you can download completely for free, showing you how I do this. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.